And we are live for the 33rd, I can talk, edition of the Sunday afternoon live stream where we talk Splinterlands. So welcome. I hope everyone's had a good week. My week has been very busy, including this past weekend. I got a few details to drop here in Atlas Earth. As I had been discussing the last few weeks, I'm still in savings mode. I'm at about 17,000 Atlas bucks, working towards my 22,250. Once I reach that in a few weeks, then most likely during next month's challenge ladder, I will be doing a massive parcel buy, which is massive for me, 225. Probably not massive for some of the big dogs, but I'll be doing that. Plus, an interesting topic because I've been sitting here for a while at 1,500, waiting to jump to 1,725, which represents, obviously, it's here in the United States, it's going from the 3 times multiplier into the 2 times multiplier. There isn't really a tier jump there, but there is a jump to break even. So I had on my last episode where I talked about this a little bit, I had somebody mention that there isn't a whole lot of savings there to jump to break even. So, and I think that's interesting, and it's a fair point because at this point, most of my profit or my rent is being made through the super rent boost. So when I do that, I'm going to do a couple episodes. One episode is going to be the actual large amount of parcel buys to see what I actually get. The second one is going to be diving into the numbers and looking at how much I saved. Did I save as much as I thought I was going to be, etc. And just take a look at the numbers and kind of look at this whole tier jumping thing. I think the idea of tier jumping, just my proposed theory, I guess that's the best word, is that, wow, my iPhone is picking up. Siri, stop it. My theory is that tier jumping is very valid and a very good money savings mode or strategy when you first start out. But as you go along in the game, it saves you less and less. That's my theory. We're going to test it and see how that works out. Okay, so let's jump into chat once again. Oh, I have a piece of information that you may or may not be interested in. Of course, I love it when everybody joins me here live. Sundays, we have this at noon. Next week, we're going to fall back, so there'll be a little bit of time change, but as usual, I'll post it. But there's some people that catch this on replay, right? So, different time zones, etc. It's the middle of the night over there or whatever. So I'm going to start posting to Spotify. So whenever I get done with the show, it usually takes about a day and a half for YouTube to, post the download. So I just figured, well, why not? I'll start posting to Spotify. Part of my goal, I've talked about this and I don't want to beat this to death, but YouTube is kind of squeezing YouTubers for, what I'm making has almost been divided in half over the last couple months. So I'm trying to find a way to repurpose, this content. So I'm going to be posting to Spotify. So if you are a person that like it travels and you are on the move and you prefer to use Spotify, within a few days after the live stream goes live, then you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify for replays. Anyway, that's my big news. Also, be looking out for, in case you're interested in, I don't have the shirts yet, but I am making up some t-shirts that say Bronze Dragon Gaming with my logo. If you want one, we'll go for it. I got one coming in on Monday, and I'm going to test the quality out, and I'll let you all know how it goes. Let's dive into chat, see who is here. We have Azor Ahai, and I always say that, and I'm wondering if I'm saying it right. Hello, welcome, thanks for dropping by. Markham Travel and Cop Watch is here, welcome. Tanner Calder's here. Just saving. Yeah, I mean, I've been saving since the middle of last month. And like I said, I had to work my way through the challenge ladder this month without buying any parcels, which was interesting, but ultimately pretty doable because I did it by about the 15th or 17th of the month. Um, it just meant I really played a lot more of the mini games. That's what it meant. And I think I might have done like one more amp, even though I have far fewer places to choose from around here to use amp. But Lady Sharon's here. Welcome, Sharon. Says, good morning. Still working on the ladder. Haven't been out much lately and just building up Atlas bucks. I need to take a badge buying trip and possibly buy more parcels. Well, like I always say, just plan it out and go with logic. I'm not a person that just randomly jumps into games and don't have a plan. I mean, sometimes I do, right? But this kind of thing, I always approach it with going with logic. Sometimes you have to break your plan though, and you have to be adaptable to the circumstances. Like you're buying parcels, and all of a sudden you have a small trip you got to go on. Well, that's a perfect time to buy some badges, right? Take a little drink. Actually, lemonade and energy drink in that drink, not a coffee. But I like to use that mug on the Atlas stream, as well as my Atlas Earth front and the Atlas Earth merch here. Brandon B-tastic is here. Welcome, Brandon. As always, thanks for dropping by. Southern Coin Hunters in the house. Welcome. Good morning to you as well. Lady Sharon says, one of my arcade games says it's uninstalled when it's not. Reached out to support. They said they will honor what I finish. Yeah, I mean, there's a disconnect between the actual company that runs the arcade games. And, we all know, if you've been playing for a while, if you're new, this service that runs in the background where you're playing an arcade game and it communicates with Atlas Earth, it's not perfect. So you run into issues. In fact, I've got one that I've been working on that I haven't really, I put a lot of time and effort into it, but I haven't got my rewards for the last two levels. So I'm going to need to put in a ticket. Okay, so the takeaway is here that generally I've gotten really good service from Atlas Earth support, not the gaming company support. So, I've said this before, but if you're relatively new, then if you haven't got a reward that you are due for a game, then take a picture of, in game proving that you reached that level or whatever it is, and then put a ticket. You put in a ticket with Atlas Earth. And then, the little form will say, hey, what game is it? What were you supposed to do? Reach level 50 or whatever. And then it'll ask you, hey, how many Atlas bucks do we owe you? You put that in, and then you attach the screenshot proving that you made it. They will look on the backside. They will confirm that you did it or whatever they do, right? And then they will send you the Atlas bucks. I've never had a problem with that. It's usually taken about 2 business days. I don't think they may work on the weekend, but I don't think you can really count the weekend because in the situations I've done it, it's been like on a Thursday or Friday, and then I've heard back from them Monday morning. So that's what you need to do. We all know this system isn't perfect. It works on this, communications in the background. That's why you have to make sure that the tracking is on between the apps. You don't have to enable notifications. I hate those notifications. I always keep those turned off. So whenever you install a new game, it'll ask tracking, yes. Notifications, no, for me. Because I've got an Apple Watch now, and I don't want my Apple Watch pinging every 5 minutes because it annoys me. And same with my phone, right? I don't care. I open the game, I play it when I play it, and I'm referencing in Atlas Earth on the arcade. Oh, I need to make level 50, go into the game, look at what I'm at, and try to work on it, right? I don't need the game pinging me every 10 minutes to let me know that, hey, download and pay us some money and whatever, But good luck with that. Also, I think they can tick it off on your monthly challenge ladder. Not quite sure on that, but I think they can. But what won't happen is in the app or in Atlas Earth under the arcade. Let me pull my arcade up here. What won't happen, which is kind of annoying. Let's go to my apps. So let's pull this back over here. What won't happen is it will not update on this page. Okay, so for instance, like, let's see here. Um, so I know for sure that I completed Marvel Strike Force, right? And I worked all the way through it and I got to past level 55. I had to put a ticket in to get the rewards, which they gave me my rewards, but it will never complete it. So that means that will just sit there, for forever. I wish they would look at that and figure out a way, put on a button, say, let us remove it or whatever. But then again, that's that third party app that is running in Atlas Earth. So Atlas Earth may not have a whole lot of a call on, what buttons and stuff we can use there. I am going to go ahead and do my 20-minute ad because I just saw it popped up while we're talking. Okay, Donnie S is here. Good afternoon to you as well, Donnie. Markham Travel and Cop Watch says only, that's a funny name, only been doing day login, been very busy. Well, I mean, life happens. And like I said, I do a lot of videos on this game, and I'm the first one to admit everybody is going to play differently. I just try to approach the game and, kind of give people a best case scenario on the use of the Atlas Bucks and everything. And it's actually changing. Like I said, I need to really do a video on how it changes, how I view the game and how it's changed from when I first started until in approaching the 2x tier, because things do change, right? Logically speaking, watching your ads for 2 or 3 times multiplier doesn't get you as much as, back in the day when I had 20 or 30 times multiplier, right? But that's the evolution of the game, right? The evolution of the game is as you work your way through the game, there's more dependence upon getting your profit off of the super rent boost versus just your multiplier. But I mean, my point is it worth me doing all my ads? I stay boosted because my viewpoint is 2 times or 3 times is better than 1 times, right? So yeah, when we take a look at this after I do my jump, I'm going to take a look at the math and see exactly how it's going, and I may have to modify what I'm advising people to do. Maybe at a certain point it becomes more worth it to not worry about tier jumping. Maybe at maybe at the 6 or 5 times tier or whatever it is right there, maybe it's just not worth it to tier jump anymore. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at the numbers though, because numbers don't lie, right? And I'm terrible with numbers, but that's why I always do them like 5 times before I put a video together. Tanner says, ahead of me, man, and afternoon, everyone. Well, good afternoon to you as well. Donnie S says, don't you guys have wintertime in the States? Well, yeah, we do, and this gets in a whole long global warming discussion, which I don't want to, fire up any political thing. But what I've noticed is that the winter, the really cold part here, and I live outside of Philadelphia, it has been pushed back. I grew up in Indiana, and I can remember it being really cold and having to wear a coat around Halloween time, right? And I'm not saying there's snow on the ground, but I'm saying it's cold enough to wear a coat, because as kids, we always got mad because we had these costumes or whatever we put together, and they looked totally terrible if you had to put a coat on over them, something like that. So, but my whole point is, it does get winter, but we don't really even see any snow. I couldn't tell you the last time we had a white Christmas, right, Donnie? We see snow more towards the end of January and February around here, right? So yeah, it's global climate change, right? The Earth has always been in a state of change, and I think we as humans have just modified that a lot. We're not going to get into it, but yeah, it's not winter around here. In fact, it has got cooler. Last week it was unseasonably warm here, but we had a cold snap or a cool snap. Cool snap meaning 40s Fahrenheit, right? And the leaves just started dumping off the trees, which I have some hardwood trees in. I know it's not Atlas Earth related. I have a nice big 150-year-old oak in my yard, and I have a silver maple and a red maple that are 100 plus years old. I love these beautiful stately trees, but man, at fall time we've got a complete coating of leaves around our yard. Okay, I'll get off that topic. David Vasquez is in the house. Welcome, Dave. Thanks for dropping by. Azor says, I can't wait until tomorrow. I'm dropping 450 parcels. Wow. So you're at 1,500 and you're going to drop 450 tomorrow? Whoo! You better have an hour or two to do that. Let me tell you what. Let us know next week how long it took you to do it. And you're going to take a sixth mayorship. Yeah, that's an interesting point because whenever I drop my 225, I will be taking my fifth. So that's what it's about, the end game, if there's such thing as an end game. Oh, that brought to mind, if you're interested, I did a collaboration episode with Pharaoh Silver last night, and it should be posted sometime toward the end of this week. Over on his channel. We're going to start doing collab episodes on different topics that include play to earn and stuff like that. We did talk about Atlas Earth a little bit in this episode as well, but that'll go live on his, and then we'll swap back and forth on our channels and do collaboration episodes. We hopefully will do like one a month. So that'll be posted on his site this coming week some point whenever he gets it edited. Eric Wang is here. Welcome. Good morning to you as well. Happy Blue Dolphin is here. Says good morning. I'm still confused on tier jumping. Okay, well, tier jumping is pretty simple in theory. Okay, let's go ahead and sorry, I lost my OBS settings. I had to figure out where I was. So let's turn off this background and let's turn on. Okay, let's bring up the website, Atlas Earth, and let's go this. Okay, this is going to be, I'm not going to dig into deep because I know a lot of you understand tier jumping, but here's the brief on tier jumping for Happy Blue Dolphin. Okay, so you look up let me get my head out of the way. Okay, so you look up your play chart on the Atlas Earth website, or there's a direct link on out of the app, right? When you do your boost. It's very small, but it's there. So the whole idea behind tier jumping is the fact that this is the United States, and everybody's different. Everybody plays by a different chart. You just have to find the chart you're going to look at. But the same thing, the argument applies across. So here in the States, our first tier ends at 150. Okay, and up until 150 parcels, we get. Okay, sorry. Up until 150 parcels, we get 30 times multiplier. Now, when we buy that one extra parcel and cross over to 151, it goes down to a 20 times multiplier. So at this point in the game, you're still getting most of your money off of doing that hourly boost, okay? So what happens is when you step over to 20 times, you are earning less rent on an hourly basis than you were before if you stayed at 150. Now, There's a point up to 220, which is the next tier, the top of the tier. There's a point therein called the break-even point, which is going to be about 200 to 210, somewhere in there, depending upon the rarities, okay? And at that point, when you get to that point, you're going to be making the same money as you were at the 30 times multiplier, right? So the idea behind tier jumping is once you get to 150, stopping and saving up enough Atlas bucks to buy all of your parcels up to, let's say, 210 is your break-even point or something, and then buying them all at once instead of going over 150 and taking a decrease in the rent you earn. Okay, that's the simple idea behind tier jumping. Now, just kind of a side note, at 150 is also advised to go ahead and badge up to your 15%, but that's just kind of a description of tier jumping. And it applies to everybody. Everybody just, depending upon where you live, you just have a different set of numbers to go by, okay? Hopefully you are unconfused now. Hey, Janice is here. Welcome, Janice. Thanks for dropping by as always. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Coley Poley's here. What did you think of the newest Atlas Games episode? I thought it was interesting. Like I had said before, they invited me, but I declined. I thought it would be cool, but you know, I'm in my 50s. I'm still in decent shape, but I didn't want to get out there with the young guys and get injured or something, get taken out of work or something like that. So I declined. I thought it was pretty cool. It's an interesting advertising decision, though. I don't know. I haven't seen if they've gotten huge amounts of numbers of people watching it. I guess the idea to me is put something interesting out on YouTube that will attract a lot of viewers, right? And then those viewers will like, hey, this is cool. Let me check out the game, you know, and then go download the game. That's my idea. I think there's a lot of people that didn't. I think a lot of players that have been playing for a while maybe didn't like the fact that they spent so much money on that, and we're still waiting almost a year later for all these advancements to the game that they've been promising. All these big advancements and changes to the game have been continually, oh, we're working on it and things like that. So I think that's the idea. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was, I guess it's a good strategic move as far as marketing. I'm not a marketing guy, right? So you would have to look at the numbers behind that, and only they could tell us how well it's done, right? But, you know, we've still been waiting for months and months and months on all this new stuff that they're working on, supposedly. You know, so it is what it is. I thought it was an interesting watch from a guy who does YouTube videos and struggles to keep my videos down to under 15 minutes. I found it interesting that they were able to. Editing is a true skill. Being able to take a lot of content and put it down to a small package is a true skill. I thought it was edited pretty good. But yeah, people generally don't want to watch long shows anymore. They have a very short attention span. Let's see here. Anne is here. Welcome, Anne. Says, hello, Bronze Dragon and Atlas Earthlings and all. I am in savings mode until November challenges begin. Pretty much with me. I figure that I'll probably get enough in mid-November to be able to do my purchase parcels challenges. Should be ready for many parcel and badge purchases with 3 arcade games about to reward. Nice. I'm not set up too well yet on my arcade games. I need to get a couple in position. Retro Reviews is here. Welcome. Let me move my head back. I keep having to move my head back over because I don't want to block stuff I'm talking about. Okay. This Retro Review says, hey, Bronze, I made it again. Overall, how do you feel about the current state of Atlas Earth? Do you have any concerns? I would be lying if I didn't say I was concerned that it's taken them so long to get a lot of these game updates that they started talking about last fall at this time into game. Okay, I work for a software company. We work on an app and on-prem solution as well. But and I understand how many people, developers, it takes to create a program, update a program, things of this nature. And I'm not really even certain how many people they have on their development team. But I do know from a from a marketing perspective, or excuse me, frog in my throat. From a front-facing perspective to your customers, if you come out and you start talking about something, and something's going to come into the game, and then meanwhile, a year later or years later, in some cases, it's still not in the game, even though you put a lot of talking points and advertising behind it, that doesn't look good to me, right? So to me, if you start marketing something or telling your players about it, you should have a plan in action, a development plan in action, and it should be started, and you should be, most of the way, midway there, before you actually announce it, right? So if you'll notice, since Manning left last year, we do have Annalise, who does release some information, right? But for the most part, we've been getting hardly any information. I don't even know what countries are live, what countries are mapped. I don't even have any of this information, which you would think it would be a perfect situation for them to advertise their product. Let people, hey, we just went live in the Philippines or wherever, I'm not saying they're live in the Philippines. I'm just saying, using that as an example, because it would be a perfect place to be mapped and live, because we'd have a lot of players over there, right? But my point is, there's a lack of information coming out to the public. That's why you haven't seen a whole lot of videos from me, because I have no information to work with. I would love to get information and be able to do videos on it, but they just are not talking about it. So how do I feel about the game? I mean, currently, this is one of the things that came up on the episode last night when I was talking with Pharaoh Silver. Currently, everything's working fine. I mean, we haven't seen any of this new stuff, but we're still earning the rent. We even got a third surprise little super rent boost during the month. Maybe that was last month, whenever the Atlas reality show came out. So my feelings are that to the numbers, it looks like they're doing well, until this is going to be the big flashing light to me. The big flashing red light to me is going to be if they change how much rent we make in one way or another. In other words, if they reduce what we're making on our parcels, and or reduce the amount of SRBs available in the month. If they say go from 2 to 1, then that's going to be a big flashing red light to me, right? So currently, I think everything's going well, but I don't have any intake. I don't have any news from the team, So I'm not part of the team. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit salty, but it's logic to me. That's logic to me, right? So I'm still having fun playing the game. I'm still approaching it. But once again, I want to stress to everybody involved, I'm playing this as a game. Have I put tons of time into it? Sure. And there's a lot of people that post on my videos that say, "Oh, you're wasting your time, and your time is valuable." And I understand, but most of the time I put into the game are, I'm just I got a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and I'm doing other things at the same time, right? I understand time is valuable, but my whole point here is I'm not taking $10,000 out of my bank account and putting it into the game to buy parcels. Okay, so I'm feeling good about the game. I am less than feeling good about how long it's taken them to get things into the game from a development perspective. And furthermore, I'm less than happy with how the AMP program has progressed. I felt like the way they were talking about it, we'd have new stores and everything available at this time. Plus, it may be available in what's the most logical next step from the United States? Probably Canada, probably UK, something like that, right? But no, we haven't seen any progress with this in-house. The AMP program was developed by them, and they started talking about licensing it out to other companies, right, and making money off that. I thought that was a cool idea. That's how software is done right now. But it doesn't appear that they've made any progress with that. In fact, we have, or what I've experienced personally, is the retraction of several of my prime AMP providers have went away, right? So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded of an explanation. Lady Sharon says, I hope they can count the ladder. I told them that I really just doing it for the ladder. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure. I think the Annalise said that they could, go in and tick it off on your ladder. I'm not sure, though. And Annalise is her child, one of her children is sick, so she's not on today. Brandon said, I did watch the first 2 episodes of Atlas Games, and there's a new episode of Atlas Games. I did not watch it, so I'm guilty. I did not see that they had a new episode of Atlas Games. I see that they had not invited me, but I see that they put out a lot of shorts lately. After this show, I'll have to go watch it and see what I think. Brandon goes on and says, I did watch the first 2 episodes of Atlas Games and liked somewhat, considering watching from here on out. Maybe I'll see you and or Pharaoh Silver. I don't know. They had talked about inviting me to the second episode, but apparently that didn't happen. I'll have to watch that, though. Hey, Toby Neal's here. Good morning, my friend. Baby Sharknado. Oh, yeah, I just accepted your friend request over on not Reddit, Discord. We do have a Discord channel if you'd like to join. The link is in the show notes. We just chat about stuff, when people have questions, talk about what's going on, Nothing big. Toby says, it's all about being boosted. It is to a certain extent because my theory is that at a certain point the boost, I'm going to say probably up about 4 or 3 times tier, the boost is going to be very minimal off of what you earn compared to what you're earning off of the super rent boost. And that goes back to my point about red lights flashing. If they start taking super rent boosts away, which I'm not saying they are. In fact, we have for quite a while got 2 super rent boosts, where last year when I first started, there was only 1, so they did add that extra one. But if they were to take that away, then all us people above, in the 2 times multiplier would take a heavy hit. As far as profit goes. Lady Sharon says, just went into Atlas Earth to run my ad as well and got a pop-up about winning 200 Atlas bucks by watching a YouTube video. Are they doing this to get people to watch the YouTube games video? Oh, sounds like it. I haven't gotten it yet, but it does sound like it. How they run those little contests once in a while. It sounds logical. Hey, I need to get that so I can get 200 Atlas bucks. 200 AB is 200 AB. You know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? B5V says, this ladder has been a genuine challenge. How is your progress? I have to break tier for the first time, and I'm sure many have to also moving forward. Well, I completed it. I completed it about mid-month. Let's go over to the challenges. I completed it mid-month. Like I said, it's really, I didn't buy parcels this month, and it required me basically to do a lot more mini games. But you're not alone. A lot of people, I found it a little bit more challenging too. But from a comment Annalise had made to me at the beginning of the month, part of what they're doing is um, trying to extend the challenge over the whole month to cover more of the month. So basically, make it so people cannot complete it within like the first week, and this will encourage more people to be in the mini games throughout the month. Basically, I think that's what their big encouragement there is. So they are playing. One of the main things they said about the challenge ladder is it's always going to be changing. I don't think we're going to find. So far, it's been almost a year now. Next month it'll be a year. And they haven't found a sitting spot to where they're happy with it. So, but there's been changes this year, and the biggest changes that affected it were the mini game changes, going from paying to play the mini games to watching ads. So they're still messing with the numbers. Toby says, and worrying about tier jumping is worrying about pennies. Well, yeah, I mean, they worked the tier loss into the game to help out their bottom line, right? And yeah, in a lot of cases, if you break tier and you've only broken tier for like a week or two, then you're only looking at a matter of cents in most cases, right? But if that extends and you're between tiers for a month or two, then that adds up into dollars. And it depends upon where you're at. If you're at a 30, 20 times, going from 30 to 20 times makes a big difference. Going from 4 to 3 times, not so much, right? So like we talked about at the beginning of the show. B5V says, you're not wrong about pennies. We'll make it back anyway eventually. Southern Coin Hunter says, the only arcade game I never got my Atlas bucks after the initial first few mile points done were Toon Blast. Submitted several tickets, no luck. That's interesting because I've put in a lot of, let's see. I've probably put a dozen in because the games just don't work a lot of times. In fact, usually when it actually clicks through, I'm surprised. But I have... let's go back to my games. So we can scroll through the games I've played. I'm currently working on Jules and Klondike. I didn't really dig that game. Bingo Blitz is kind of a headache. Disney, I have Solitaire. I have 99 days left, but I'm getting down to the point where it's really hard to advance. I need to do my ad. But let's see here. Royal Match. Idle Miner Tycoon is the one that I've got 2 rewards coming to me, and it just hasn't awarded to me yet. I need to do a pickup. Warhammer is going fine. Marvel Strike Force, like I said, I finished it off, but it didn't complete right. Had to put a ticket in. Same with Match Factory. Same with Rush Royale I'm still working on. Let's scroll down here. Yahtzee, no, I didn't. That one didn't install correctly. Idle Bank Tycoon didn't work quite right. I completed the Sortago water sort, but it didn't work right. You can see Match Zone worked fine. I completed Coin Master. That was a slog to get through. I got my prizes off that, but once again, it didn't work right. Ended up uninstalling Monopoly Go because that didn't work. Bubble Rainbow worked fine. Travel Town was a slog. Still working on that. Not even playing it very much. You can see the ones I completed, and Merge Dragons I completed, but once again it didn't work right. You get the idea. A lot of these games it's like 50-50 with me, right? So I will say that putting tickets in through Atlas Earth and not the gaming company has worked fine for me, doing my 20-minute ad. Uh, Toby Neal says, and buying parcels every day means that every day you get more. Yeah, that is true if you can buy where you are. But there's another variable there. And I got a flea flying around here for some reason. Another variable is that when you are taking over mayorships, like in my case, and several people's cases, you have to drive to where you want to buy a parcel. So I'm not going to drive 5-10 miles to where I'm taking over the mayorship to put down 1 or 2 parcels, right? It's just a waste of gas. So I'm saving up. I'll drive over there. I usually record it while I'm doing it and make an episode out of it, and then plop them all down. Even when I exceed 1725, which will put me past the break-even point in the 2 times multiplier, I'm still going to have to save up a little bit at a time, because I'm not going to go driving over there, like I said, to do 1 or 2 parcels at a time. Now, if I needed to add some parcels right around where I live and I just had to walk out the door down the block a little bit, that's another case. But currently, I have my mayorship here solidified pretty good. But yeah, it's just another variable. Lady Sharon says, I'm in Colorado. We should have snow by now. I have blooming roses and snapdragons. Not complaining, though. Fall weather currently not too hot or cold. Yeah, but, you know, things are changing. I mean, the climate is changing. But then again, over the life of the earth, it's always been in constant change, you know. So ask the dinosaurs. Skip says, how much you're making? How much are you making a month? Let me pull up my browser here. This is where I'm sitting currently. Just making sure my head's not in the way, and I'm trying to advance my ad here. This is where I'm sitting currently. I am making about $46 a month. Okay, so $559 or whatever a year, or $1.53 a day. So that's where I'm standing. Okay, let's see here. Toby says, I have 2,528 plots and I'm at $78 a month. Yeah, that jives pretty much with my numbers. But whenever you use the Atlas Earth calculator, you got to make sure all your numbers are correct. Like I know I only boost for about 20 hours a day. That could make a lot of difference, you know. As you go up in tiers, not so much, but you know. But when you're first starting out, definitely. And you've got to make sure your country is correct too, because the numbers will be way off if you select one of the other countries. Skip and Toby are talking about putting money into the game. Southern Coin Hunter says, I found a mayorship I can get going to take some saving to do. Yeah, like I said, if you locate, it's a lot easier with the map now, locating mayorships. It used to be just hunt and peck, you know, throwing a dart into a dark room, right? Driving around trying to find mayorships. But with the map, it's a lot easier. I suggest saving up and also kind of looking at places and kind of keeping an eye on who's mayor and seeing if they're active or not. If they're active, then you might encounter resistance. They might fight back, so to speak. If they haven't made any moves or added any parcels lately, then you might get no resistance and can take it over relatively easy. I still think you need a little bit of cushion, though. So if it's going to take 100 to take it over, I probably would go in with 125, because that puts a little bit of a decision in their mind, right? You go in, you take it over. If you only take it over with 1 or 2, then they're like, oh, they come back and they take it back from you. But if they have to come out of pocket and buy 25 more parcels, then that might be a more of a thought process for them, right? Toby says, I pay the $60 a month subscription and I cash out $1 per 100 parcels per month on the first SRB. I do also cash out after every SRB. I am making, like I said, uh, $46 a month, almost $50 a month, not quite there, but $10 of that goes to the ladder subscription because I think it's a very good value. I do not do the Explorer Club subscription, which he does, which he's talking about. Donnie says he's at 572 parcels, but I went after the 400 parcels to the 2 times multiplier. So I'm at 9 cents a day, 18 during boost, and the 32 hours SRB, I have $6. Yeah, it's all about making constant progress. You just continue, and everybody has different plans. Some people get up high on the ladder and they say, well, I'm not going to boost anymore. I always figure, hey, 2 times is better than 1 times, right? And part of it is kind of muscle memory, doing the ads. Like I seem to always do them. It's in the back of my head. I don't do the timer thing anymore. I did when I first started out. But everybody plays different. Everybody puts different amount of time and effort into the game. So Pascal is here. Welcome, Pascal. Says, good afternoon, everyone. Can I complain about the bowling game? You can complain. It's not going to do a whole lot of good here because I have no input into the games. But had 22 against an opponent with 20 and still lost. Another game, I was a point ahead, had a strike in the last second and still lost. How can you lose if you had more points? I don't know. Angelica's here. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, she's from Germany. Guten Tag. Welcome. Good afternoon. Clint Casey's here. Says, I worked the Razorbacks game this weekend and picked up 16 local badges on the way. Nice. Did the Razorbacks win? I didn't watch. My Irish had a bye this weekend. I saw my second team, IU, is doing very well. Still unbeaten. Won this week. Let's see here. Lady Sharon says, I feel like they overshot. As in, they had all of these ideas, but they didn't really look into plans to implement them. And now when things are not working, they're kind of... I don't know. I have no view into their development process, how many people they got developing, etc. I mean, I don't have any details to make a educated guess on, so I'll just not guess. I can just say that from a user perspective, a person who uses their app, it's not great. Ann says, my app's map will enlarge and minimize but not rotate. Has anyone else experienced that? Let me test it. I haven't done that for a while. No, mine rotates. I don't know. You could always try uninstalling the game and reinstalling it. Logging back in. Or, you know what I'd do before that? I would try a hard power down of your phone and then let it sit off for about 5 minutes and then power it back up and then boot up before I did the uninstall and reinstall. Not that it would do harm anything, but yeah, I know people are tired of IT guys saying, have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? Well, guess what? Turning it off and turning it on again resets a lot of the services. So you never know if it could help. There's a reason why we say that is because a lot of times it works. Southern Coin Hunter says, I were to subscribe today for the current challenge ladder. Can I still get the current rewards? Yes, if you pay the $15, the $14.99. You would have to pay the $14.99, then you can back collect all the rewards from this month. If you pay the $9.99, you will be subscribed for next month. Okay, so they do allow that, but they charge a little bit more for doing that. And by the way, if you have completed the challenge ladder, it's worth the $15. If you haven't, then maybe not. you know. Retro Review says AMP has regressed, only subtractions, no additions. I agree with you there. We talked about that for a few minutes earlier. Angelica says, do you think it will be changed again, that the matches will be rearranged and I will only play against players from my country? Probably not. Who knows, though? They've had a lot of people that haven't liked this change. The whole change was to get the pot levels up. People, you can't make everybody happy. People were complaining that the pots that you won were very low. So they found a way to make the pots bigger that basically put a lot more people in. The competition went up, but the pots, if you competed and won, then the pot size was a lot bigger, right? But now people are not liking that. So, who knows? They've made a lot of changes since the games came out. I can't say. I don't think so, since they have just recently done that within the last several months, right? Hey, Ann, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. I mentioned this. I'll just mention it slightly a little bit because you'll notice a lot of stuff going on this channel because YouTube has changed with AI how views are counted and stuff like that and basically what it's led to is us YouTubers making less money off of ads and such. So if you're using an ad blocker, they don't count you watching a video as a view anymore. So I do appreciate any and all memberships people have, as well as super chats. So once again, thank you, Ann. I do appreciate it. And if you have a topic or question, just drop it in chat and we will go to that. Okay, let's see where we were. Lady Sharon says you're really far behind. Yeah, I can't keep up with it. I mean, I could jump forward, but then we miss all the the chat that's been going on. The whole thing with AMP program is too long for me to speculate here, but I just don't think it's worth it for companies to be on it and think that's why. Yeah, I don't know what the advertising rates are and stuff like that. So to me, logically, it would benefit small companies, small businesses in the locality, and big businesses probably aren't interested in spending their advertising dollar on. Could be wrong, but just from an advertising kind of brain, it hasn't expanded, correct? Trying to catch up, Sharon. Brandon says they did an update. Now you can see the Atlas games in the events now. Nice. Let's check that out. Okay, you're right. They did. Why it keeps snapping to the center of my screen? So yeah, watch on YouTube in 6 days and 12 hours. Who will win big this month? So I guess they're just planning on doing it on a monthly basis. That's interesting. I'll have to check out that newest episode, which I haven't. Been quite busy this weekend. Natural Search says nothing like placing in a game halfway through and then not being able to find a match till it's almost over and getting pushed out. Yeah, I noticed that the longer they go on, the longer for me it takes to get a match. You might be sitting there and, sometimes it ends up just, sitting there for minutes and then I close the app down and then I have to watch through another ad, etc. So. Hey, Heidi's here. Welcome, Heidi. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you're doing well on Sunday. Happy Blue Dolphin says, yeah, the new episode is about being in a haunted house. Nice. Did they do it in New Orleans? Originally, she had said that they were thinking about doing it in New Orleans. I lived in New Orleans for about a dozen years. That was going to be interesting if I got to go, but I didn't get an invite. Retro Review says, Bingo Blitz is the thorn in my side. Monopoly Bingo is more fun. I do agree with it. Lewis is here. Welcome. Says, has anyone had problems with daily login bonuses? Mine reset this morning. I think it might not, might have got confused from the clocks going back. Well, yeah. My clock doesn't go back until next weekend, but if you, the answer is I have not had that problem. The second answer is I have heard from a bunch of people that they have had that problem, and the answer is to put in a ticket and they will reset your daily login bonus. Southern Coin Hunter says I'm now getting $1 every 4 days versus 6 days 2 weeks ago. Well, nice, constant progress. Lewis says, and also greetings from Spain. I haven't been able to watch Bronze's stream live for a while. Hope everyone is well. Well, I hope you're doing well in Spain, Lewis, as well. I know that it's much later over there. So I appreciate everybody stopping by whenever they get a chance. And once again, I will also mention that the replays, if you usually catch my replays, are going forward will be available on Spotify as well. Obviously, I love it when everybody comes. I'm doing my ad to boost. When everybody comes, a lot more discussion, so I appreciate it. But I understand a lot of people, depending upon their time zone, it might be in the middle of the night over there, so catch it on the replay. Brandon says, I have been playing Bitcoin Miner. I did that one via ZBD now and earning sats, which is blah, 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 BTC, just cashing out to my Cash App. I never cashed out from Bitcoin Miner. I did it just to get through the challenges. Southern Coin Hunter says, what map? I don't know if you're talking about what I was talking about. I'm talking about the one on the Atlas Earth website. If you log in, there's a tab up at the top for map. Zoldan says, hi, Bronze. Would like to see the ability to move legendary parcels around so as to relocate them for better viewing. As you grow, it would be nice to relocate them. I agree, but I doubt you'll see that. I don't know if they have any plans on doing that. These games are all about spending money. They want you to spend money. So, their answer would be, buy another one. So... Pascal says there were a lot of people reporting that on Reddit. Yeah, I agree. That's why they started. As far as I know, it's a relatively frequent ticket, so it should get handled pretty easily. I don't know what the problem was, but over the last month or two, it seems to come up a lot. As far as the not challenge ladder, the daily login bonus resetting on people. Brandon says, I do start a shortcut where I can double tap the back of my phone when it starts a timer for 19 minutes. Yeah, I did that at the very beginning, but I don't do that anymore. I just, I'm pretty good on it, getting most of them during the day. Zoldan says, bought a parcel at a new brewery in the area along with 2 other players. All 3 have legendary plots. Wow, what luck is that? Brandon says, does turning the iPhone off and back on and clear the cache? It should, although there's a lot of things going on in the background in the iPhone, but it resets a lot of the services. I will notice that there's a lot of things that auto-populate, which means it's in the cache or in the memory in some way, but it's always worth, from an IT perspective, whatever your device is, whether it's a laptop, tablet, phone, if you're having a problem with an app or some such, then it's always worth doing a hard power down. I do a hard power down once a week for my phone, leave it off for about 5 minutes, turn it back on just to restart all the services and everything. And also with your computer, it's a good thing, especially with Windows, even with Mac OS. It's good to turn off I turn off my computer at the end of every night. Just because, even in power savings modes, it's still using some power, and, Windows, just to get off topic a little bit, you also do want to do a restart on your computer once in a while because of how Windows works to install updates and such. Southern Coin Hunter says, where's the map at? Like I said, you log in and it's up at the top tab. I'm not going to log in because when I log in, it shows my exact location and everything. Let me see if I can do this. And my phone keeps binging. Okay, let me take this off screen. Let's go into Atlas Earth. Let's log in. Okay, map is the rightmost button. Okay. Hope you can see that. Let me take my phone off. Okay, once you're logged in to your Atlas Earth account, there's a map button up to the right. And when you click on that, now you can go to a map and you can go around. It's going to start right where you're located, but you can go around your area. So this is Washington, D.C. Let's see how many people are playing in Washington, D.C. As you zoom in, you can start seeing the squares of where people own property and such. And then as you zoom out, you can see black lines. And those black lines, you have to be careful about how far you zoom out. But those black lines indicate where badges are located. So you see this black line along this river here, along the Potomac. That indicates there's a different badge area. And here this represents it a little bit better. So when we're in this area, we're in Arlington, Virginia. But when you zoom in, you see these other areas that indicate other badges. And we're over this area, we're actually in National Landing, Virginia. And when we go over to this area indicated by this black line, we're in National, I guess it's both National Landing. But you get the idea. The badges are separated by these black lines. And that's how you can go around your map and see, like down here, we're in a different set of lines. We're in Alexandria and so forth. So that's how you can scroll around your area and see where badges are available. And then, secondly, you can click on this little leaderboard up to the right and click on the locality, the rightmost tab, and you can see who is mayor there. Like in this area, Alexandria, Virginia, a person named Rojas is mayor with 2,484 parcels. So you can use this information to kind of locate areas where you want to take over mayorships. And then furthermore, you can click on the person and see how many parcels they have and kind of judge, are they a small time player and they put all their parcels down in one location and they're really not adding any, so they're inactive, so it might be easy to take them over. So hopefully that was useful. Okay. Poker Mouse says, sorry, Bronze, clock went back. Glad to be here. We'll catch up later. Well, nice. Thanks for dropping by, Poker Mouse. Always appreciate it. Azor says, after combining, it kicked me out of the top 24 for most games. I'm lucky to get the top 50 anymore. Yeah, a lot of people are reporting that the competition has really went up. Obviously, the pots went up, which is what they wanted to, but the competition has really went up as well. Donnie says he missed his forgot to collect, and he's back at day one as well. I did that like last month, but it was on me. It wasn't like the fault of the game. Hey, Gathering the Magic's here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I know I'm behind in chat, but we get so much chat that I try to hit everybody's, what they want to talk about. Try to catch up during the episode. Says, good morning. Just wanted to say hi while my wife and I are having lunch. Well, thanks for dropping by, Gathering. Gathering is a YouTuber as well. Long time associate of the show. Covers Splinterlands, which is the other game I cover on this channel. So welcome, Gathering. Southern Coin Hunter says, I finally hit the 90-day login reward. Nice. I paid better attention to it this time, yeah. Poker Mouse says, mine reset, but I put a ticket in and it's been put back very quickly. Yeah, I think after they did it several times, they figured out how to do it, and it was pretty quick to do if you put in a ticket. Brandon says, would you consider doing a podcast? Yes or no? Well, actually, I am. I take these episodes and I download them and I put them on Spotify as a podcast. So the video is still there, but you can listen to them on Spotify. If you're just driving or something like that, if you just want to listen to the audio. Because usually in these episodes, I don't do a whole lot visually. Sometimes I do, but most of it's just answering questions and talking. So I figured it would make perfect podcast type material. And I think what you'll find is this episode with myself and Pharaoh Silver that'll be out in the next week or so, whenever he gets it edited, to try the collaboration feature, is very much like that. It's just we're just talking. There's nothing visual going on, so I think he's going to upload it to his Spotify as well. Hey, Poker Mouse in with the super chat. I appreciate it once again. Thanks for supporting the channel. As always, I do appreciate it. If you have any question or a topic you want to talk about, just drop it in chat and we'll jump over to that. Trying to figure out where I was. Okay. Donnie says, yesterday I won my first 18 racing games. Then I see the number one already had 24. I'm thinking, how possible? Yeah, I mean, people talk about it. There's a lot that's going on. I can't tell you why. All I can do is just say, do the best you can, right? That's all I can say. You know me, I'm not a big... I did play a lot more mini games this month than usual just because of having to, because I wasn't doing the buy parcel challenge. But I'm not... Actually, one of them I actually placed and won a little bit, like 50 Atlas bucks or something like that. But it's mainly because I had to play a ton of games because I was like at the... it was like play 10, play 15, play 20. And by the time you do all that, you've played for the better part of more than an hour, right? So... Pascal says, last time I was on here, I asked about whether I could get the top hat level when I reached 1,000 parcels. I can confirm that was the point where it changed. Now hoping to find the diadem level. Nice. He's talking about these little hats here. So 1,000 parcels got you the top hat. Okay, well, yeah, I have the top hat. I'm at 1,500 now. So... I guess that's what you're calling the diadem. The next one looks like a queen's crown. I guess that's the correct term for a queen's crown. So we'll see. And for everybody who's wondering about it, there's nothing. There's nothing in the world, in the game, that this means, other than the fact that as your number of parcels go up, the little picture of the hat goes to the right. It doesn't mean anything else in the game. It's one of the most confusing things that people ask about when they're new. They're like, what does it do? It does nothing. It's a picture of a hat, which is a weird thing to put into a game. But I guess it's just to represent your progress through the game, I guess. It's a weird thing, though. Brandon says, maybe we can, but the White House... Maybe we can buy the White House if you could get close enough. I'm sure that'll be on the list. Whoever gets it. It'll probably be one of the big dogs. Happy Blue Dolphin says, is this map only accessed through the actual website and not the app? Correct. Now you can open the website in your browser on your phone and do the same thing, but it's not in the app. Papa Squatch is here. Says just hit 21 bucks today. I love free money. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of just continuing to do it, and as you go along, you're making more and more and more. Zolden says just hit the $90 club. Nice. Progress is always nice. A lot of us just like play games where you can just keep advancing and doing a little bit better, a little bit better. This is one of those. It ticks that thing in your brain, you know. Like I said, you can see I'm at $582 and don't want to stop. In fact, next month I'll be adding more plots and, you know, hope probably going over that $600 mark. So Warrior VS is here, says hello from France. We liked and follow your content. Thanks for your research. Well, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. I know it's a lot later over there, so probably after dinner time over there. Thanks for dropping by. Brandon says, on YouTube Premium, you can lock your phone and just listen. Nice. Hey, Michael B's in the house. Welcome, Michael. Thanks for dropping by, as always. Brandon says, do you know the 2026 roadmap? I do not. In fact, let's check the website or their channel. I was waiting for the replay of their last. Let me pull that over here. I'm trying to find the official website. The Atlas Games. Okay, so this is the official website. We'll put that up there. We'll get my phone out of the way here. Okay, so this is the one that just went live, which I will have to watch. And I don't see a replay of their AMA. So it's been about 2 weeks now since the last AMA, which I never got into because of the timing on it. I was working, right? And then I'll have to watch that. But I've been looking forward to listening to that AMA so I could hear a little bit of news because we really don't hear anything about it. So that's where we stand. Yeah, I don't know. When I get news, I'll put it out and try to look into the details. I try to make a video about it, but lately we haven't heard much. I mean, we've been waiting all year as far as, you know, all the stuff we've talked about at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. Everybody was hyped up, and then Manning left, and then kind of just nothing, right? I mean, Annalise has been doing great. She seems like she lives on Discord, and you know, she puts a lot of time and effort into it, but she just doesn't have a whole lot of news to release from the company as far as what's going on. So I think from a marketing perspective, I would think they would want to put out more news, what's going on, and, you know, what countries are going live and where they're mapped out, but no. See, I'm caught up. It took me a while, but I caught up. Pascal says, is there any reward for watching the Atlas games through the button in the events tab? Somebody had just said that they got offered 200 free Atlas bucks. Let me... I always do this off screen because I never know what's going to pop up on my phone, and I don't want the wrong thing to be live, right? It says, well, this is what it says when you click it. Why does it keep popping back? Survive the Haunted Mansion and win 10,000 bucks. We hosted 4 real Atlas. Oh, this is just describing the video. Oh, it was in New Orleans, the Napoleon House. The video is 15 minutes long. Watch if you dare. Doesn't say anything about winning 200 free Atlas bucks, but somebody was saying earlier that they got a pop-up in-game that said, hey, watch this and get 200 free Atlas bucks. So I might, yeah. That'd be nice to receive it, get 200 free Atlas bucks, right? Toby says, I've been following you for a while now. I am sure you have enough saved up to pay for the $50 sub and stay in the green. You will lose a little for the next months, but 38 plots a month average. Yeah, I understand, and I'm not saying that it's not a bad deal. In fact, the Explorer Club is still a better deal than just buying packs of Atlas Bucks outright, right? I did an episode. This is a long while back. You'd have to look on the channel, but I compared what you got out of it, the Atlas Bucks and such. I compared the Explorer Club, the Challenge Ladder, buying parcels, or buying Atlas Bucks to buy parcels outright, and converting rent to Atlas Bucks. I compared all of them, and the Challenge Ladder came out first, and then Explorer Club came in second. So I'm not saying it's a bad deal. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's in the back of my mind that $50 a month is a big chunk to bite off. When I'm playing this as a game, do I know that I could advance a lot faster with it? Yeah, and in fact, Brandon has asked me a dozen times if I'm going to do it, and I keep saying I'm holding off. Right? I am still in the green. I'm well in the green. There's a lot of people that can't say that when they put all their money back into Atlas Earth. I do understand that it would help me advance faster, but I prefer to stay in the green. I'm in a red on a lot of games because I do cover a lot of Web3 games. Still have fun with them, still playing. In fact, that's one of the topics we talked about with Pharaoh Silver in this episode that's coming out. But I prefer to stay in the green, and I think at this point in time, I'm just sticking with the monthly challenge ladder because I think it's a great deal, especially if you complete it right. There's no way I would even be having all of these legendary parcel upgrades that I did without the ladder. I think it's a great prize. A lot of people have talked about or asked about, can they extend the challenge ladder? There's a great divide in the game. There's some people that are just squeaking by, barely able to complete the challenge ladder, and there's some people that just want to go ahead and push it out more or add something on the end of it for people to encourage people to work on it more. So I think it's a good idea. But obviously everything would have to work out with, you'd have to look at the numbers and such. Zolden says, I'm aiming to hit 20% base boost with the badges before hitting tier 3. Have 10,000 Atlas Bucks stored for badge buys, but now have to travel too far to get any. Decided to tier jump for now. There's the logical way, and everybody plays a little bit different, right? I still think that the best time to buy badges is if you are going on a trip, going on vacation, holiday. That's the best time. What I found was around me, and everybody's going to be a little bit different, right? But I found around me, once I hit about that 15% boost, I had bought all the badges around me. And badges around me, I have to drive for at least 35, 40 minutes to get to a new badge, right? And so I just, I'm saving, and if I go on a trip, I'll just buy badges then. So Toby says, I'm in the red right now, and I'm going to be in the red for about 3 more years. Well, see, to me, that's like an indicator in the back of my brain, don't do it. Everybody plays different. I'm not trying to tell you you're right, wrong, indifferent, right? Just to me, that is saying that, to me, is like, do I think Atlas Earth is going to be around in 3 years? Probably. Do I know it for sure? No. Any game at any point in time can shut down. So that's why I treat this as a game and not as an investment. It sounds to me like you are treating it more as an investment. That's on you. That's fine. It's just everybody has a different call on it, right? I prefer to just, that's why I also tell people to do frequent removals of your rent from the game. Because if you, I've heard of people have hundreds of dollars just stashed in the game and waiting to withdraw. I'm like, what happens if the game gets turned off? You lose all those hundreds of dollars, right? So, yeah, we all play differently. Zolden says that they had the 200 Atlas Buck pop-up to watch the new video about 10 minutes ago, but closed it. Happy Blue Dolphin says it's a sweepstakes. Obviously, not everyone is going to get 200. It's whoever wins. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, obviously, it's marketing, right? So, Brandon asks, do you think we could get a receipt scanner to get Atlas Bucks from receipts? Oh, like one of those money-making apps? Oh, probably not. But it would be possible, since a lot of this stuff in Atlas Earth are third-party applications that are kind of combined into Atlas Earth, like, you know, the arcade and travel and such. It would be possible for them to probably take one of those type of applications and insert it in the game where we can add that. It's like a lot of these other things we've talked about, like walking apps and stuff like that. They could probably be brought into the app as well. But, you know, it would all ultimately have to be able to earn Atlas Reality money on their side, and then there would be another app within the app that we would put up with. Then you would scan your receipts. I've never done any of that, but it's a possibility. It's not one they've talked about, though. So anything's possible. AJ's here. Welcome, AJ. Says, hey, Bronze Dragon, missed most of your live, so we'll have to start as always. Hope you're well. I hope you are, too. I'm doing pretty good. My wife and daughter are still out of town. They're coming back this week. Yes, I'm still alive. Me and the dog are still alive. We can make it. Yeah. So I had a little bit extra time this last week, and I've been up to a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm going to have T-shirts coming out. I've got the replay going live on Spotify. I've just uploaded the last 5 episodes. So, you know, I like it when people can stop by. There's more conversation, right, when it's live. But I understand that people sometimes watch the replay. So now it's available on both YouTube and Spotify as well. So maybe check it out and tell me how it works. If there's anything wrong, I think I did everything right. Brandon says, could Atlas Earth be a 401k kind of thing? No, Atlas Earth is a game. Treat it as a game. That's my opinion. And that and $1.25 might get you a coffee at McDonald's. My financial journey is here. Welcome. Says, hey, Bronze Dragon, how's it going? Late to the show, but I made it. Yeah, and we're almost over. But thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. My financial journey, also a member that joins me on my Splinterlands live stream on Saturdays. Ann says, I spent $500 through AMP program and mentioned it to the businesses when purchases were done. My favorite renewed. Good Atlas Buck sources. That's a good point, because I've done the same thing. It's a little thing, but it helps, especially for small businesses. And what the point is if that business is on the AMP program, you should let them know that you use their business because of their affiliation with the AMP program in Atlas Earth. Because as a small company, they need to know if their advertising is working, right? And small companies, if you have a small business like a sandwich shop or a bakery or something like that, you don't have time to have marketing executives, marketing people doing your numbers and looking at your analytics. It's just you. So a lot of times when you take the small amount of money that you do have for advertising and you decide to put it into like the AMP program or something like that to pay for advertising, it's good that you get some feedback and let them know that it's working. So if you have a local place that's on the AMP program, let their manager know, or email. If they've got an email that you can email their owner or something like that, let them know that you're using it because of the AMP program. It's a good point, Ann. Thanks for bringing that up. My Financial Journey says, have you put any thought into joining the Explorers Club using cash you've gotten from Atlas Earth? I know you're not on the $50 a month yet, but if you save a bit, you can do 1 to 3 month batch. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this. I just talked about this before you dropped in. Yeah, I'm making about $46 a month now. I could theoretically do it. I would start going in the red. I mean, I've made a little bit more than $400 overall from the game profit. I've made $582, but what I consider profit, the rest has went back to the monthly challenges ladder, and a little bit like $3 or $4 worth of rent to Atlas Buck conversions for the challenges on a monthly basis. So I am putting back into the game, but I'm not doing the Explorer Club because I want to stay in the green. Okay, like I said earlier, not that I don't see the value in it. In fact, like I said, hey, Arbin's here. Welcome, Arbin. Good evening to you as well. Thanks for dropping by. Good supporter of the channel. Do appreciate it. Like I said, I see the value in it. I think the Explorer Club is second in value on Atlas Bucks to dollar, what you get, second only to the challenge ladder. And it's even better value than just outright buying Atlas Bucks, right? But I'm just not paying that $50 a month just because I want to stay in the green, right? Hey, Arbin brought me a coffee. Thank you, Arbin. Thanks for dropping by. And as always, supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. These super chats and memberships for the channel have become especially more important now that the ad rates are taken away by Atlas Earth, or taken down. So I do appreciate it. Happy Blue Dolphin says website is in chat. I just sent it a couple seconds ago. There it is again. Brandon says, do you think your dog could make a cameo in the future? You know, I always thought about doing like a dog cam like some channels do, but my dog, first of all, is a blue heeler, and she is named Magnolia, or Maggie for short. She doesn't like having her picture taken. And she moves around a lot. So like I have a little bed for her back here in my office, and there's a few others around the house, and she'll get up every 10 or 15 minutes and move to another bed and lay down. So I might, but it would be hard to keep her on camera. Yeah, she doesn't, even if you just go to take a picture of her, she turns her head and walks away. She just doesn't like it for some reason. Toby says, I did get the pop-up for the 200 free Atlas Bucks. It's probably just for newer players. Interesting. Well, I'll have to keep an eye on that. Arbin says, sometimes coffee is good for the heart. Yeah, I drink coffee. I have a good coffee maker. In fact, I get spoiled on the coffee I drink at home. We do go through a lot of beans, but I like good quality coffee. And then I go to work, and the coffee they have there is kind of bleh. But I like coffee. Lady Sharon says, I'm sorry, I had to pause the video and I'm about 7 minutes behind, so I don't know if you'll see this, but that was me who got the pop. Yeah, several people have been talking about it, so hopefully I'll get it. Hopefully. Pascal says, I'm not the link's not showing. Yeah, the chat will, unless I post a link, the chat's going to block it. That's just to keep spam and phishing links out of the chat. Sorry about that. It's just security. Toby says, and we're getting close to the half hour here. Toby says, I'm a commercial fisherman, and Advanced Auto Parts was all the 5-gallon bucket of oil I need and is on the amp. They took Advanced Auto Parts as off the channel, or off the program now. I used it. It was like an old standby, right? But I think that I know what happened. I probably know what happened. It was a lot of people talked about going and like buying a Coke to fulfill their challenge, And what a lot of people who don't run small businesses don't know is that when you run your charge card at a small business, they are paying a fee for you doing that. So as a small business, they're hoping. That's why some places have a minimum, like to use your card. Sometimes there's a minimum. Um, but you buy something and there's and everybody has a little bit different rates from the card company and then from the bank that they use that it goes through. But the minimum on a charge might be something like $3, $4, $5, something like that, US. And if you buy something less than $3, $4, $5, then not only is that place not making any money, they are actually going in the hole money. So and I saw a lot of people strategizing on how to pass their challenge ladder for $1 or $2. And that's fine as far as a strategy goes, but you have to understand how that's actually affecting the company that is advertising. So at a certain point, they're just going to say, they're going to do the numbers and they're going to say, it's not worth it anymore. We're not going to advertise anymore because people are buying dollar candy bars or whatever they are. So I use that quite a lot, but it was usually for just stuff I needed for the cars, air filters, wipers, stuff like that. Heidi asks, as part of your live stream, would you be willing to spin a wheel and tell us where to buy a parcel, like a gas station, grocery store, and a park, Main Street? That's an interesting idea. I'll have to think about it a little bit more. I don't know how I would do that. There's so many locations that we're joining from around the world, right? Spin the wheel, make up a wheel, and let me think about it and get back to you next week, Heidi. Arbin says, I'm on 2,550 parcels. Nice. You are almost double what I have. And I'm just flying. So you're getting ready to fly? Well, safe travels. I'm not a big fan of flying, but I know some people do it. But safe travels to you. My daughter is out in Arizona, so she went out and saw the Grand Canyon and some places around there, so she's having a good time. Toby says, oh man, now I have to go get oil from somewhere else. Now they just did that. I got oil just last month. Yeah, unfortunately, but maybe they might come back. Who knows? Well, we are at the end of our hour and a half live stream. I want to say thank you to everybody for dropping by and spending a little time with me on a weekly basis. As usual, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. If you understand what that saying is, you're a little bit older like me. Sundays, noon Eastern time, and next week the time will change here because we're daylight savings time falls back. So take that into account. Either way, I hope everyone is doing well on your side, and I will see you in Atlas Earth.